Who Put This On, Season 6, Episode 38, where we watch Domino Masters, Season 1, Episode 1, and it's podcast time. And I'm Chris.
I never thought I'd get this upset with Dominoes. This is Brian.
We're really going to put our brains together and our brawn. This is Domino Toretto.
If this is your first time listening, we watch a different reality show each week, discussing it in minute detail, figuring out if it's good or bad. And last week we watched something, and I didn't look up what it was. And I don't have our Twitter poll in
It
front.
was the kitchen up and down.
Next level chef.
Next level chef.
I propose that they call it kitchen up and down.
Okay.
Okay. Actually,
I'm looking at the poll results right now. I'm sorry, audience.
Kitchen Lazy Susan.
I'm sorry.
Wait, no. What's the thing?
I'm sorry.
No.
We got a bottom third from the audience on our Twitter poll at Who Put This On. And if you want to tell us what you thought about this show, you can find our poll on at Who Put This On Twitter. And somebody tell me what show we watched.
I got you.
Okay.
Domino Masters brings imagination and creativity to life when teams of domino enthusiasts compete to create mind-blowing masterpieces. The top teams face off for a cash prize, the ultimate trophy, and the grand title of Domino Masters.
Can you read the first couple sentences of that, or first couple words?
Domino Masters brings imagination and creativity to life.
That's a fucking lie.
I mean, yeah.
There's definitely some creativity in the show for sure. What do you mean?
So this is the latest entry in the Masters Reality Universe, aka the MRU. And when I look at Lego Masters, the show that started it all, it's so much more creative than this. There's so much more opportunity with Lego than there is with Dominoes, even though it's cool still.
Yeah, I mean, there's a performance though. There's no performance in Lego really. It's just like it's a diorama that they can try to tell. I mean, they tell a story sometimes and sometimes not. But in Dominoes, there's like a performance. It's like a Rube Goldberg thing. I don't know. I think it is different.
It is. And it still has some charm, but
I mean,
you're still also restricted by like this overarching theme. Oh, you got to do something sports related. Cool.
I mean, here's where we could talk about the host, because I think the host is the most pertinent thing to talk about the show. So you've got, his name is Steve Bright. No, what's his name again, Brian? Eric Stone Street.
Yes.
He's from Modern Family. He was one of the guys in the gay couple, the heavier set one.
He's Cameron.
Cameron, thank you. And he is not the Lego Master guy.
Will Arnett.
He's just not Will Arnett. And he's trying to be funny. He's absolutely 100% not funny.
He's god awful.
He sucks funny from the show. He is not providing any funny.
He's one of the worst hosts I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, he's so bad. Like Danica McKellar is a judge, provides way more than this guy does. Like he just sucks anything good from the show, I think.
There was that one section where he did like a stupid little bit with somebody. That was kind of okay.
He like sang a song or something.
Yeah. Well, I got him to like do a song.
And then you have Joe Buck just sucking the rest of the energy out of the show.
What do you mean? That was like some of the more exciting stuff.
Yeah, I mean it was exciting, but Joe Buck sucked the excitement out of it. I just can't stand Joe Buck. He's just it's no good. Anyway, all right, let's talk about the show. So we got Eric Stone Street. He is the host, and then we've got 4 domino teams: Brains and Bronze, Construction Crew, Rocket Science, and Dominators. So they have to build some sort of domino contraption, and the theme this week was sports. So they had to pick a sport, and they had to score in the sport. And they were ranked on 4 different criteria: storytelling, originality, technical ability, the topple. And their criteria was they had to score a point in their sport of choice. So we watched them get their like thing together, and there are 3 judges that judge. Unclear if it's the same judges every week, but it seems like they might.
I think it is.
We have Danica McKellar from the Wonder Years. We have Vernon Davis, a professional football player. We have Steve Price, a professional dominoer, as I wrote down. He's also now
Actually, Chris, the term is dominatrix.
Yeah.
Is that going to be your team name?
No.
What would your team name be?
Oh, are we getting team names now, Brian?
Oh, yeah.
Team fuck this show.
I think we got to be the Eliminators, Brian.
That's a good one.
Like, we got to really take this back to American Gladiators.
So I came up with two. Who Knocked This Down?
Ooh, that's a great one.
But Eliminators is so good though too.
It's like a little nondescript though. Like anyone could be an eliminator. Not everyone could be Who Knocked This Down.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I mean, that's a little big. That said, Chris, all of these names were anybody could be this construction crew.
I mean,
Dominators
is definitely the template. Dominators is anyone could be the Dominators. Like anyone could be them. But like not everyone could be rocket science.
Brains and brawn.
They also had like something back.
I mean, a lot of them kind of like it seemed like they tailored their backstory towards their name. And I don't know how we tailor our backstory to the Eliminators.
All right, we're just going to have to kill someone.
That's just like, well, I went to jail for 20 years because I eliminated someone. So we're the Eliminators.
Actually, my team name is Team Murder.
Brian, what was your second team name?
The Pipcasters.
The what?
Like the podcasters, but then pips for the little dots on dominoes.
Yeah, I don't like that. That's no good.
That's why it's second place.
No one would get that. They'd be like, "What?" No one cares. All right. So let's go through like team by team and they're like what they did and how well they did. And then, maybe then we'll go to questions and this will be the shortest podcast of all time.
I'd be okay with that.
So we got Brains and Bronze. They did a baseball theme. And this was the best one by far. They made a scoreboard that showed somebody get like 2 strikes and 3 outs, 3 outs, 3 balls. So they had a full count. So like they had like a contraption for each one. So like 5 different contraptions that all led back to the scoreboard. That was super fun. And then then they had like a contraption that let the ball go and like hit a home run, and they had this whole stadium out of dominoes that just came collapsing down. And then they had
there was a spinning baseball bat that hit a ball.
Yeah,
that was so good.
They had a confetti cannon at the end once, like they hit a home run. It was super cool. Like this was so good. There was a lot of dominoes in this one. Like there are so many of these we saw with like no dominoes. So I'm just calling out right now that like this one had a lot of dominoes and they were all crisscrossing, and this team was like by far up and above the best.
So this might not be the right time to mention this, but you're right. There are so many of these that didn't have that many dominoes that maybe it should be called like Rube Goldberg Masters.
I mean, it definitely seems like in order to be creative and original, you just can't have dominoes. Isn't that impressive?
Dominoes are fucking boring. Like we've seen every way you can use dominoes already. We get it. You can't make an entire show about dominoes.
Every one of these had some sort of Rube Goldberg machine. Like they had the Rube Goldberg scoreboard, they had the bat, as you mentioned, and there was like some sort of popcorn thing. But I don't think the popcorn thing had to work for their thing to keep going. But like in general, there was always like some sort of contraption that every team had. And I thought like without it, this would be also even more boring.
Yeah. But what percentage of dominoes are you looking for? Because I think that like most of them had like a reasonable amount because they actually like fit a theme. But this one obviously had the most. Like it had like crazy path and like was also making the stitching of a baseball.
I think 3 out of 4 teams had the reasonable amount of dominoes.
Oh yeah, well, team fucking blow their load. Like, really.
Speaking of team blow their load, the Dominators, because they dominate, they did a mini golf theme, which was a real not good theme. I'm gonna be honest with you. They didn't do a great job with this. They had like very few dominoes, and they had like five set pieces. Like I think the other team only had 5 too, but they were like very lackluster. The only interesting one was they had this weird teapot thing roll down and then continue on their like Rube Goldberg machine domino thing, and it like fell off and just crashed. And I thought that was kind of fun.
I have a question about this. Do you think they know how to spell tea time with regards to golf?
Well, I think they were just making a joke about it.
I'm not sure though. Maybe they thought it's actually called tea time.
They also had King Putt.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. You've convinced me.
They were definitely making stupid jokes about golf.
To be fair, if I see that teapot, I'm using it. That's a wild thing to make. And now it's gone forever.
Yeah, that was a crazy teapot. And then they just broke it. I don't think they even intended to break it. Like it just hit, like the spout hit at the right spot and just rolled off.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was gone. I thought their ending was kind of interesting too. They had some sort of windmill that pulled something and like let some mini golf balls fall down and hit a thing. I thought that was interesting. But overall I was very unimpressed with their whole setup. It seemed very amateur, especially compared to the other team.
These guys were not domino masters. They were domino journeymen at best.
Well, they also had one dude who just fucked off for most of the time. Like, I don't understand what that dude was doing. He said he was the artist of it and like the visionary, and it really just seemed like he wanted to stand around and look at like cool stuff.
Okay, here's where I'm going to get into this. Okay, so you start the show off. They give you the theme. They introduce the teams. Everything's going great. They're like, show you their design. And then you get into this part that's just like absolutely mind-numbingly boring. They go from design to setting it up, like to setting, like doing the topple, where they show them like doing stuff, is so boring. I swear we saw the fucking clock more than we saw anyone fucking put a single domino fucking down. And it's just like the editing of the show is awful. Whoever edited the show needs to be fucking fired. It's so bad.
Like, I can already think of a better thing they could have shown us, which is like maybe a time lapse of them building something. You didn't see a single time lapse.
I think all these shows, not all these shows, but especially the show should be go from, okay, this is our design, time lapse everything as watch them put it all together, then show us the whole thing. And the show should be 23 minutes and not 43 minutes.
I can't believe the show was 43 minutes.
43-minute show.
This was one of the worst 43 minutes of my life.
I think that's a little hyperbole, Max, but
do you remember other Opposite Worlds?
That was fun, though.
I enjoyed Opposite Worlds.
Max, I think you're really missing out on watching it with a crowd anymore. Like, the crowd, I think, helps with the show a little bit because we can make fun of the show as it's going along.
I think Zoe fell asleep, though.
Maybe. Also, now might be a weird time to mention this. I watched the show with no audio and just captions.
What?
Why did you even need to mention that?
Just, I watched it in a weird way.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even then you got to really pay attention, and that's bad news.
That was no good.
This is a
This is a hardcore background show.
This is a hardcore, let's fast forward through all this shit show. And I'll get to at the end why it fails at that. But let's get into the next team. We got Rocket Science. They did hockey. This team I thought did a reasonably good job. They had some really cool things going on, but some things didn't fall all the way, which really hampered them. And their whole thing stopped. They're the only one that had their thing stop, which is no good in a domino competition. But like the ice bucket, they had like a skate roll into a puck at the end. That was pretty cool. And the beginning where they had like a weighted pulley kind of thing with a puck that started it all off, which was really cool. I think they had great ideas, just their like technical implementations weren't great.
Yeah, they talked about, or Steve Price talked a lot about technique with that, and I kind of saw it, which was maybe one of the more interesting things that they actually mentioned some aspects that were like, oh yeah, I never thought about that for the domino things.
Like we're definitely learning some domino rhetoric here with like a topple wall and like a pyramid and like that this thing is called a topple. Like I've never knew that. I like, what do you mean? Like they're like, it's topple time, and you're like, what the hell's a topple time? Like what the fuck is a topple? And it's apparently when you manually start the domino train. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
One other aspect I really liked, even though it like is penalizing, the finger. So they were like, if your thing stops, they'll give you the finger and tell you that it's time to give this dominoes thing the finger. They
Yeah,
make a
they
terrible
just
joke.
like give you the middle finger, and they're like, "Yeah, fuck you."
But the fact that they let you start it again is refreshing.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Brian, this is a show, so they want it to be entertaining. So if it stops, they want you to be able to like continue like we want to see the rest of it.
Right. But I also like there's a lot of room for mistakes. Not even just with like the people. Like, okay, you're waiting to film this shit. Something went awry with like somebody else's thing, and then all of a sudden your shit's done. Or like a breeze, like somebody opens a door and a breeze
That's
happens.
true. Sure. If somebody's thing like that popcorn thing goes really haywire, it lands in like somebody else's thing, starts it. Whew. Yeah.
I wonder what leeway there is. There's got to be some if shit totally goes wrong.
Yeah. I don't know. You're not wrong, but I do like the pointer thing. I think that you need that. They didn't move on. I thought that they were fine. If they moved on, I don't think it would have been a big deal. But they could come back for next season, I think.
Wait, so they went and moved on? Like, was the only team fully sent home
No, they didn't move on.
Oh, okay, they didn't. Okay.
Yeah, the one team we didn't talk about was the construction crew, where
They did football.
They did football. They had a pretty elaborate thing where they also had a stadium that fell. That was really cool. They kicked a field goal, which somebody spent like almost half the time setting that up.
I think it may have been worth it.
I think it was totally like the thing that I think is the key for the show is to make something that like looks that you want the spectacle. Like as we're talking about, it's Domino Masters. No one gives a fuck about the dominoes. They want the spectacle, and the spectacle here is like the stadium falling and the field goal kicking and the popcorn popping and like all that cool stuff that like looks dangerous, like it might not work. And the more it looks like it's not going to work, and the easier you make it work, the better.
Yeah, that was like the really cool mix. I still love like the extra stuff that they had. Like, so they've also shown like some montages of Steve Price, like and his world record attempt, and there was some cool artwork done with the dominoes, but I don't think it was as good as this.
Well, when you're doing the show and you're based on like originality and like stuff, it's like an artwork is, you're going to need some dominoes, and an artwork is fine, but like that's not going to win you this competition. Like what's going to win you this competition is the baseball bat circling around and like, oh, is it going to work? Is it going to work? Like you want somebody on the edge of their seat being like, oh my God, I don't know if this thing's going to work. But the trick is to make it look like it might not work, and it's gonna work, right?
Yep.
That's how you win this competition. It's like a magic show. Anyway, that's all 4 of them, and Construction Crew and Brains and Bronze moved on because they were clearly better than the other 2. They didn't. One aspect I was really surprised that they didn't go over was actual scorecards for storytelling, originality, technical ability. Like, what are you doing? Like, you tell me that this is based on these 4 categories, and then you don't tell me give me the numbers. Make this the Olympics.
So, if memory serves correctly, I think Lego Masters did the same thing, where they say like, here are the things we score you on, but then they don't give you any numbers or anything.
One plus about Lego Masters though is that those
It's
judges,
good.
yeah, well, A, it's good, but B, those judges actually knew what the hell they were doing. I don't know why Vernon Davis was on there.
I I like that Danica's excuse for being on there is that she's an actor, but she's also a mathematician. And as we all know, there's a lot of math in dominoes.
Oh my god, don't get me started on everybody's damn credentials for this thing. Like, there were so many people who are just like, rocket scientists, okay, like that makes sense. Brains and brawn, also okay, like good physical positioning, and you got the maths. I don't know the musical theater, dude.
They're just making up shit, guys. Anyone can make dominoes, guys. Anyone can do it. You just have patience.
I guarantee you I can't.
Yeah, you need patience. And Brian, we know you don't have any. It's fine.
Also, can I just say that like the whole theme of sports is the most boring possible theme in the world? It's like you walk into kindergarten and they say make a poster and the theme today is sports. It's like what kids choose. It's like I like football. I'm doing football.
And then you just like give all the kids Sports Illustrated magazine, ask them to cut out.
I'm gonna go against the grain here. I think scoring a goal in a given sport provides enough variability that like most people aren't going to pick the same sport, and provides like some sort of spectacle that you want for a dominoes competition. I think it's great for a dominoes competition. Is it good for like artwork? No, like it's not. It's like the fact that it's like art in motion, and like sports is all about motion, and like I think those two align very well. There's a lot of themes here I think that could go very poorly.
That's fair.
Like Lord of the Rings, like what the fuck is that going to be? Like it's just like, I mean, that could be an interesting theme. Could be like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that?
Dude, oh my god, I can imagine so much. Like we also just watched like all 3 Lord of the Rings extended editions this weekend.
It's just going to be the Ents. The Ents are going to just like the trees are moving.
So you get that. You get them. Some of them like falling over. You get the final end of like Sauron's
tower. You toss the ring into the fire. Yeah, I'm sure. Fine.
Yeah,
maybe that's a bad example, but like you could give that to an art competition though. Like make me the best Lord of the Rings thing. I agree with you. Sports would not be a great competition for a lot of things, but I think it worked really well here. I think seeing the ball kicked, seeing like home runs, and seeing like I think that was all really cool. I think that worked really well.
I'm not saying it didn't work. I'm just saying it's basic.
It is a very basic theme. You're right. Like I think stuff's going to get better because there's several rounds of this where like they're doing 4-team competition, 2 go on, 2 go home.
Yeah, you do get better and better competition as we move up this bracket, I guess. Which we looked at. There's 4 episodes out right now, and it looks like they're still just like adding people to the playoffs. So, who, buddy? I don't know. Anyway, the last thing we should talk about is the actual topple here, where we have Joe Buck announcing this fucking thing. And I just don't understand why this guy's needed.
I think you do need a professional announcer.
Why? Just show me the dominoes falling.
No.
This show's about dominoes. Let me see the dominoes.
I have a question for you. Notably, Joe Buck was never shown on screen. Did he just do this from home? Did he just do 100%. A little voiceover?
There's no way Joe Buck was in the studio doing anything. He gets an edit and he's like, look at this, blah, blah, blah. Look at that. Look at the popcorn. Look, we got another split coming. Like, it's like I'm watching a fucking video game. He's not even saying anything useful. Like, I can see a split. I see it. I don't need you to tell me there's a split coming. Like, it's just, It reminds me of the NFL announcing, like not saying anything important and just like talking over shit that I don't need you talking over.
I just quickly looked up on Cameo to see if Joe Buck's on there. He's not. I really wanted him to announce like another thing like a marble competition or some other thing.
That's just whatever. And I also think the actual topple is also really annoying because I just want to watch the dominoes. That's all I want to do, but they keep cutting to reactions, and it's just like, stop it. I want to see the dominoes. It's really frustrating.
Yep.
Yeah, show the after event.
Like it's just, I don't know. I don't know the right way to do it, but they are not doing it the right way. All right, so let's get into questions, I guess, unless anyone has any other minutia they want to bring up. Max, minutia?
They have 16 hours to build. I had so few notes for this show because there's literally one of my notes is 23 minutes in. There's literally nothing notable about the building section.
The one Rocket Science dude had a great Guy Fieri shirt.
It's true. I guess they do win $100,000, which is kind of cool. They win the whole thing. That's about it.
For doing this, worth it.
So let's get into questions. Do you think this is the apex for the host?
No.
This is the first time where it's like, oh, you're the host of your own show, but this is a downgrade from a very famous comedic show.
I think sometimes we elevate the hosting of your own reality show over like this dude's gonna fucking make bank on like this sitcom that's gonna be in syndication forever.
He's set for life.
Right? So it's like these obviously the sitcom is his apex for sure. And dude, this is obviously a downgrade.
I went on IMDb and he's not even in the fucking top build cast. Like the other judges are, and Joe Buck, and then
because he's fucking terrible. Like this is like, if he brought it and he was the best host ever, this could have been an apex. Like this could be a peak. But since he's not bringing it, not that I don't know how much of that is his fault versus the edit versus like the writing, like the production of this thing. Like there's a lot of things that go into like a show, obviously, but like they're not doing him a favor at all.
They can cut like 95% of that Vernon Davis time and then his jokes.
You don't know what kind of edit we're looking like, what kind of footage they have, because it doesn't seem like they have anything useful.
They didn't have any of Vernon Davis already, so just cut him out entirely.
Do you think that they just have like one camera on the clock the whole time, or do they just like have that for like one thing of like 0 to 16 or whatever hours, and then splice that in whenever they want?
No, because oh god,
this is a question for the audience. I think if you know,
that's just a waste of tape. Like you could even just you get those shots and you put them throughout every single episode. Doesn't matter how many.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like episode 1, you film the clock, and then use that footage for all the other episodes.
Yeah, but like you don't have to film it like all the time. You just get like 4 shots and you're done.
Yeah, but what if they're like, I don't know, 30 minutes left and they want 30 minutes?
You get that one.
That's what I'm saying. Is you just have the whole thing filmed. You can pick whatever one you want.
You don't get to choose. You get 6.
All right, moving on. Let's do worst human being. I think this is a very positive show, so I'm not really sure we have a worst human being.
Joe Buck.
It's not Joe Buck's fault. They were going to pay him to do a fucking stupid job.
So the producers.
I mean, I think the show might be the producers.
What about musical theater dude who just really left the team out to dry?
We don't know how long he left them out to dry. That's
no. He like went off.
He was playing around the uniform. Stressed and he walked away, and then he came back. Like there's. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think the edit made that way too big of a deal.
Yeah, that is fair. It made it too big of a deal, but it's all like
they also didn't place a lot of dominoes, so like I don't know. I'm just gonna pass on this one. I think
that's fair.
I thought it might be worth bringing up. So do you think this is a production schedule? You think it's a COVID show or non-COVID show?
Oh, I mean, absolutely.
So you
COVID
think
was.
these people are quarantining before they come in?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
There's just a lot of people for that to happen. That's my
I
problem.
I agree, but like this was clearly filmed at least 3 months ago when shit was popping off. It was probably filmed 6 months ago when shit was popping off.
I wonder if they do like a 8-team bracket where they get down to like they do 4 and 4, then they get down to 4, film that episode, and then those 2 teams come back at a later time.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because that would work pretty well, I think, for them. Then you have you do that a couple times until you're down to like 4 teams or 2 teams. I don't know.
In any case, I think, besides quarantine, this is all taken care of in 2 weeks or less.
yeah. Like
You film an episode per day, probably, and you get some breaks in there because you're like there's more teams going the next day, so you're not going the next day. So I'd agree with you, Max.
Realistically, if you have like 4 studios, like you can have all this going at once.
Maybe that's why it's so bad, because they're so spread so thin that they're filming all at once.
You know what I mean? Like, okay, so you got the dedicated camera crew for each section. You have the host just rotate, you interview, and it's still like 4 hours past.
That's true. It's like for 16 hours we did see like 20 minutes of those 16 hours, but like
bonus, like you pay less for catering. You just bring like for all of them.
Brian, I think you got it right. I think you got it. Let's do would this show be better as a Quibi or a TikTok? And I think this is another 100% yes. Right?
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it.
No doubt about it. This would be better as a Quibi. Let's do drinking rules. Brian, you have a drinking rule for us?
Every time a domino falls, you drink. I'm not Brian.
That's a great rule. It might make you forget about a lot
I'm pretty
of stuff.
sure you're gonna pass out at that point. Brian, what do you got for me?
That's kind of the point.
What a serious one.
Serious one. Finish your drink when you see the finger pulled out.
Finger, that's a good one. I like that one. I think you should take a couple drinks every time like they accidentally knock down something.
Yeah, and then pour one out.
It's gonna be sad.
Max, what you got? Or you just with the death one?
I think anytime any of the hosts or judge makes a fucking silly joke, just take a drink because you need it.
Drink every time Vernon Davis says something, and you question why they had him say that.
You question why he's on the show. And then drink every time you think something's really cool. I don't know. I think just drink while the dominoes are falling.
Oh, that's a good waterfall.
Yeah. I don't know. All right, let's do.
I got one. Every time you fast forward, you have to take a shot.
Oh my god!
I hate you, Max.
Why?
I mean, on that note, the way to watch the show is definitely just to like watch the end, right? Like you just watch the dominoes fall.
Yeah, there's nothing else to see.
Like you don't even watch the setup. You just watch the dominoes fall.
I'm like 90% certain I could just go on TikTok and like watch that part.
I mean, Chris, you said the same thing about Is It Cake?
Yeah.
Yep.
They keep making the same shows. Like it's not my fault.
And yet maybe we're the ones feeding into this. Maybe we're
in
the data.
Are we the baddies?
I think so. Brian, what do you love about this show?
I honestly love the creativity. I like Rube Goldberg machines, and they came up with some cool stuff. I liked like just giant buildings falling. That's a really cool thing to construct. Yeah.
Max, what do you love about the show?
I liked the baseball scoreboard.
Okay.
That was really
I'm not
good.
sure if that's like quantitative thing about the show.
Chris, it was very hard for me to come up with something positive.
Okay. I love the tone of the show. I think the tone's very positive. There's not like a whole lot of negativity going on here. It's just like, oh, your thing didn't topple. Like, it's not like you guys suck. This was like, I think they're all constructive. They're all trying to have fun. And I agree with Brian. The creativity is really cool. Like, the end product is very interesting to me. I liked watching the end product. So that's what I love about the show. All right, so let's get into our ratings. So we do a stack ranking system between top, middle, bottom, third. Some people stack rank in their stack ranks. Max, I have a feeling I know what yours is, but why don't you give it to us?
Bottom third, middle of the bottom. I've seen worse. The second half of the show is bearable, but God, do not recommend. I wouldn't wish this on my greatest enemy. That's 43 minutes of my life I will never reclaim.
Okay, Brian, what do you got for me?
I'm going to put it top of the bottom. I still like the creativity. I just want to get to the end of it, though. I would have also loved that they taught me a little bit about the domino process. They got a really good master about this, but they give screen time to Vernon Davis, and I don't understand this.
Because Vernon Davis doesn't be how to be on a camera. That guy just doesn't.
Exactly. What did Noah think of this show?
All right. Noah also agree with you. Top of the bottom. Always fun to see experts do their craft, but the execution of the show seems rushed. Needs to be more like Lego Masters. That's what our friend Noah. Shout out to Noah. I hope your twins are doing well and you're doing well as well. And hopefully we'll see you back on the podcast at some point. But twins takes up so much time. So much. I'm gonna go with bottom third. But if you fast forward to the end, I'm going to give it a middle third. I think that is a weird rating, but there's like a good chunk of the show that's fucking hot garbage and is awful. And like Joe Buck almost ruins the ending, but it is so creative and so cool. And I loved watching it that I would consider just fast forwarding to the end of the show. Cause I think it's even way more compelling to me than the cake thing. Like I could give two shits if it's fucking cake or not, but to see this cool like Rube Goldberg machine and if it like succeeds or not is like almost edge of your seat entertainment. And there's just not that much of that. So I would highly recommend just fast forwarding to the end and just watching it. Maybe even if you do that, it could be in a top third. I don't know. I think that part was very interesting.
But even then, there was a lot of filler there. I felt.
Yeah, I think that's what gets it from a top third. They just don't let me sit and watch it. They're like, let's cut to commercial in a terrible like reality show way, and cut to like people's reactions, which really screws with that whole piece too. So
yeah, like when a domino set starts, they like build up some fake drama of like, oh, is the first piece going to connect? Of course it is. They tested that. And then it cuts to commercial.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I think it also gets demerits as well, Max. So I agree with you. But they made some compelling stuff. I thought it was interesting. Anyway, if you want to tell us what you thought about the show, vote on our poll on Twitter @HoopAtTheSon. And that's it for our discussion. We usually do some shout outs at the end, other stuff we're watching. Brian, you have a shout out this week?
I watched this stupid show called Human Resources. It's just like very crude comedy and
Nice shout out, Brian. Max, you have a shout out this week?
Nope.
Let's see. Severance. I'm still watching that. That's very good. If you're looking for like a mystery sci-fi show, it's out. It's very good. I started watching the latest season of Ozark. It's been out for a while.
Oh,
but
man.
It's pretty good. I liked episode 1, so I keep watching. That's it. That's it for us this week. And you can find us on Twitter @HoopWithUsOn. You can find us on Facebook.com/HoopWithUsOn. You can email us questions and suggestions at HoopWithUsOn@gmail.com. And we'll see you guys next time. how are we gonna do this?
1, 2, 3, 4. I came in like a wrecking ball.